Hey everybody, welcome back. We're just going to dive right into Hatchet 2 from 2010. Just like the first movie dives right into Hatchet 2. Again by Adam Green. And we have Danielle Harris in this, which obviously she's been in so much. She's a horror final girl icon at this point after Halloween 4 and 5. And she's been in so many other things too. She does fine. Like, she does a good job. But I really do prefer, I forget the actress's name, but the first Mary Beth from the first movie. I don't know, something about her. I really wish they would have brought her back. I don't know the story behind that or why they didn't. But Harris does fine. She does a good job. And then we have returning Tony Todd. Kane Hodder, obviously, is Victor Crowley and his father. And we have Tom Holland here as Uncle Bob, who's just a legend in horror, man. I mean, he co-wrote Child's Play, the first Child's Play. What else did he do? Fright Night, he wrote and directed. He directed Stephen King's Thinner and The Langoliers, and he's done so much. So I was saying in the last movie review for the first one that you can see so much Sam Raimi influence in Adam Green during the first Hatchet movie. Just how everything is just so over the top, and just like the blood is just, it's in buckets squirting everywhere. And after seeing this one again, like I've seen this whole series so many times, but I think the last time I've seen the sequels besides Victor Crowley was maybe 3 years ago. And this definitely feels like if Hatchet 1 was Adam Green's Evil Dead, then this is his Evil Dead 2. For sure. Like, it's so much more over the top. It's so much more comedic and just insane and just zany, and just even the kills are just... There's great kills in this movie. There's some excellent kills in this movie. But for me, the quality of them consistently through the film is nowhere near like the first film. The first film, from like the first kill onwards, all excellent. There's a few in here that don't do it for me, or just look stupid, like a little bit, but there's still amazing kills in here. And then we also have Parry Shen coming back. I love this guy so much. As Justin, great name, as Sean's brother from the first film. So we're right where Hatchet left off, like exactly. And I mentioned this last night also when I did the Hatchet review, that the makeup on Victor Crowley in this movie is very different than in the first film. And I mentioned that. I said that he looks so creepy in the first film. Like, just the way that, I don't know, just the way, if it was the lighting or something, but he just has a lot more creepy of a look compared to this one. And I noticed it immediately as soon as this movie starts right up, since it starts right at the end of the first one, and I watched this right after the first one. So as soon as it ended and I saw his face at the end of the first one, and then put this one on, you see just how different the makeup looks and stuff. It doesn't look bad, like, by any means. It's just different. Like, I don't know, and definitely nowhere near as creepy for me. So right where we left off, we have Mary Beth, now played by Danielle Harris, obviously. And she ends up escaping from Victor Crowley and ends up at Jack Cracker's house. God, I love Jack Cracker. And he ends up bringing her back to his home and offers her some nice warm piss. And says she's lucky to be alive and everything like that, and that he survived Victor Crowley, and explains that he lives there alone, and as long as he doesn't bother anybody, keeps to himself, then Victor lets him live for some reason, doesn't attack him or anything. Until a few minutes later, but and ends up saying that she, when she mentions Mary Beth that her father was Samson Dunstan, and that her last name's Dunstan, he just starts freaking out and pulls a gun on her, tells her, like, get out of my house and everything. She's so confused, has no idea what's going on, and he says, go talk to Reverend Zombie and get off my property. And she ends up running, leaving. And then such a sick scene. The fucking camera from Shapiro in the first movie, Jack Cracker's looking through it, and you see the porn star twins, not twins, fucking twins. They look nothing alike from the first movie, and like they're like an audition or something like that. And then he just keeps going through the video camera, and then you just see this naked chick on the bed, and like she's like, "Wait, I recognize you. Yeah, you're my history teacher from 5th grade." And no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Fucking funny, but it's weird. But this next one is just sick. And even Jack Cracker said it. He's like going after like some like girl on the playground, and he's like, "Come on, let's see what you have under there." And she's like, "Mister, I'm 14." And he's like, "That's fucked up, man. That is fucked up, man. Come on, that's fucking crazy." What's with I don't know. After this first Sleepaway Camp and reviewing all the Sleepaway Camp movies, like, and now going into what is with all the fucking pedophiles, dude? Like, did I not get a memo or a note or something like years and years ago saying like, "All right, well, there's too many pedophiles. We're gonna start casting them in all the movies, the horror movies and shit." Just like the guy from the cook, the evil ass pedophile cook from the first Sleepaway Camp, and then Mel from the first Sleepaway Camp, and then the other guy from the third one, Herman, and now this fucking sick dude, Chippy. Jesus, man. Crazy. So then we go to Reverend Zombies, and Mary Beth shows up and says that her father was one of the 3. He ends up telling her that her father, Samson, was one of the 3 kids who tried getting Victor to come out of the house on that fateful night and burnt that place down, and which led to Victor's father, killing his son. So Mary Beth is connected to this. And we also learn more backstory on Crowley, like a little more to the tale, expanding on the mythos a little bit, that his father basically cheated on his dying wife. She was dying of cancer with her nurse. And they had an affair together, and she ended up getting pregnant. And right before the wife died, she put a voodoo curse on the nurse, which rhymes, and ended up dying as soon as like she placed this curse on the nurse. Again, I can't. That's stupid. All right, so she Thomas ends up threatening the 3 kids, Crowley's father. He ends up going with a shotgun and threatening the 3 kids who tried burning the house down and saying, "You killed my son." And I said this in the last review for the last movie. Man, Kane Hodder can act, or he can. Like I've said it, I've seen him in a lot of other things, where he's not playing a stuntman or a guy in a suit or makeup. He can act, man. He's a good actor. He definitely has some chops there. And I've seen him in some emotional roles too, and in this scene too, how he just breaks down and stuff. Like, really good stuff. I love Kane Hodder so much. And the parents, basically the 3 kids hid behind their parents, and they denied everything. And then they say again, which I said was stupid in the first film, that he just became a recluse, the father, and just died of a broken heart. I said, I want to fucking know how he died. Like, I want to know how he really died. Like, come on. It's 2 movies now. He died of a broken heart. How did he die? Like, please tell me. I really want to know, because that is so stupid. And then we get this kill montage. And as I was saying earlier, at the beginning of this, that how much more over the top the kills are in this movie, and just in general the effects and the gore and the blood and everything. Like I said, it's like this is his Evil Dead 2. Excuse me, compared to his first one is like Evil Dead, which is a bit more serious. I mean, there was obviously still a lot of comedy in the first one, which works amazingly for me. In this movie, it just doesn't work for me as much. Like, the comedy just doesn't hit for me as much or as often as the first movie. And I think that has a lot to do with Marcus being in the first movie. Dion Richmond is just hysterical in that movie. But it's not even just him. I mean, everyone, like I mentioned in that review, everybody in the first movie, all the characters are super memorable. They all have at least 1 or 2 hysterical lines and everything. It's just, I don't know. It's something about this movie. And I still love this movie. I love the whole franchise. Well, until I rewatched 3. I mean, it's always been my least favorite. I still like it, but I'm going to be rewatching it as soon as I end this, so I'll see how it holds up. But and Victor Crowley, I love Victor Crowley. It might be my favorite in the series, and I've said this earlier. So looking forward to watching that again and seeing how I can compare it to the first movie. Because I always go back and forth between Victor Crowley and the first movie being my favorite. So we get this kill montage. We get this guy, his head just split in half with the hatchet. Looks great. And the guy's jaw gets ripped out. Looks awesome too. And then we get this guy who's... Hatchet just goes by real fast and he turns to his friend, and then the front of his face just falls off, and you see like his muscles and stuff. It looks stupid, man. Come on. Like with all the great effects in this series and this movie and the last movie, I don't know, that one just looks stupid to me. It reminds me of like Friday Part 6 when Jason throws the guy against the tree and it leaves the smiley face and blood. Like, so stupid. Like, that's what it reminds me of for some reason. Like, the muscles, you can see like the eye. It looks like a happy face almost. And it reminds me of that and just totally takes me out of that kill. And then we get a spear through his friend's like face, like right in the front. It comes out the back. Looks great too. Like, like I said, most of the kills are great in this movie, but there's just a few that just, they don't cut it. So Mary Beth begs Zombie to take her back to the swamp because she wants to get the remains of her father and brother and bury them. I mean, I don't know. When we see them in the first movie, their bodies, like, they're fucking mutilated, and so I don't know exactly how she's burying these things. Unless it's just like a fucking empty fucking hole and just pushing their guts into it and body parts, but I don't know. She can do whatever she wants. That she wants to get revenge on Crowley, and says that she wants to take that hatchet and sink it into his face. So she has a revenge plan here. So Zombie has his own plan. So Reverend Zombie gathers up a group of like hunters and a few specific people for reasons unknown to us at this point, and has them all get together, and that they're going to go into the swamp and they're going to hunt down Victor Crowley and try to find his boat and return it. And we find out from Justin, played again, that's Sean's brother, played by Parry Shen, who is just so good in these movies. I love Parry Shen so much. And before they all show up for this meeting by Zombie, he tells Justin and stuff that Sean is still out in the swamp and never came back with the boat or anything like that. And he's freaking out about his brother and stuff. And then I love how Justin uses the same exact fake accent that Sean uses in the first film. Like, nice little callback. And then like Trent comes in, one of the old time acquaintances of Zombie, and he comes in and Justin's like using the accent on him, and we got to this change potions and stuff like that. He's like, drop the fucking fake accent. I'm not a tourist. That's great. The accent thing from the first movie and in this, it's such a funny running gag. And Zombie ends up telling Mary Beth that he'd feel a lot more comfortable if she had a family member, like a boyfriend or an uncle, to come with her back into the swamp, so she's not by herself, even though they're going with this huge fucking party of people with guns and everything. But he specifically needs her to come with a family member after losing her father and brother like a few days ago. That's fucking stupid. I mean, we know why later on, but still stupid. So we meet Uncle Bob, and he just wants to take her to the police and have her report everything that she's saying happened, and saying how she shouldn't be talking to Reverend Zombie. He just says like he's not a reverend, like his name is like Clive Washington or something. That's so funny. Clive Washington. He's not a reverend or of anything. He says he's a reverend of bullshit. And that's funny. And he ends up reluctantly agreeing, Uncle Bob, to go into the swamp with her as long as she listens to him. And as soon as he says it's time to go, it is time to go. So then we have the awesome little meeting scene in Zombie's place with all the people there and hunters and everybody, shotsmen and everything. And he ends up explaining what they're all doing there. And then we have this, like I said, the comedy just doesn't hit for me as much in this movie. We have the black dude that always has his hood up and stuff, and he's talking about like everything he tries to deliver like comedically, it just does not work for me at all. Like, I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to have another Marcus and stuff, but Marcus is such an amazing character. hilarious. This guy just does nothing for me at all. Like, at all. Like, with his stupid chicken and biscuits and gravy song on the boat he's singing. And that's, get the fuck out of here. What the hell were they thinking with that? Excuse me. And Zombie ends up telling them they have to go out into this Honey Island swamp and get his boat back, and that he'll pay everybody $500 just for going out for the night. And then he brings up Victor Crowley. And like half the place just gets up and starts leaving and walking right out of the place. And including Trent, the longtime acquaintance of Zombie. And he pulls him aside and ends up saying, I'm not going out there for $500 and stuff. So Zombie ends up saying, all right, I'll give you $500 now and $500 when we get back. And like brings up his past, that like his wife left him and like took him for everything and stuff. And he says, that's not the past I'm referring to. So we know something is going on with Zombie and his whole little plan here, but we find out more on that later. And let's see, and he offers $5,000 for the head of Victor Crowley. Some decent money, but definitely not worth going up against fucking Crowley, man. And come on, like Uncle Bob, like he seriously would let his niece go back there after everything she told him happened? Get the fuck out of here, dude. Come on. That's so stupid. Like, I have a few nieces. I have a daughter, and then I have a few nieces. I would not let any of them go anywhere after hearing that story, even if I was going with them, or like 20 people I knew in the family were going with them. Are you serious? You're just gonna go with her back to this crazy swamp where this crazy fucking ghost killer. This makes no sense. That's so stupid. So we get a little references here to Jason Voorhees when they're saying that Crowley's just like a myth and everything like that they tell the children to stay out of the swamp. And the guy's like, oh, like a Jason Voorhees type thing. And then he's mentioned, this is a great little reference too, it's such a good movie. And he says, oh, where I grew up, and I forget the name of the town. Damn it, I haven't seen this movie in so long. But he mentioned he grew up in some town, and they had a local legend of this guy, Leslie Vernon, and then he gets cut off. And obviously, The Rise and Fall of Leslie Vernon, which is a awesome movie. I can't believe I can't think of the town that he's from. Whatever. I'll find it out. I'll save it for Hatchet 3. And we have the boat that they're on in the daytime, and they're heading into the swamp. And there's some great shots of like all the alligators and stuff around. Like, that's really cool. It's cool to see. And then again, like I said, the stupid biscuits, chicken and gravy song. I can't stand this guy, man. He does nothing for me at all. Like, oh, I'm so happy when he gets killed. And they find Sean's boat, and Zombie is lying to everybody. Like, this guy doesn't give a fuck about anything but money and his business, and that's it. He knows that Sean is dead, Justin's brother, and he doesn't tell him anything. I don't know, he's out there. We'll find him and shit. And his whole plan, everything that we find out a little later and stuff, just everything. He lies to everybody. Trent, fucking like everyone. And he gets what he deserved in the end, man, in one of the coolest fucking kills in this series. I love it. And so nightfall comes, and they end up all splitting up into groups. And they have Mary Beth, Uncle Bob, the Reverend Zombie, and Josh stick together in one group, and the rest all go like together in pairs. Which, come on, again, like, I mean, they don't know that this is real, that Crowley's real, and obviously there's one character, what's his name, Cletus, that's right, says that like, I wouldn't be out here if I thought any of this was real. Like, exactly. But I mean, it's a little safer still to keep everybody together for the most part. And we have this double kill here with Cletus and Chad. Those are like the only two names I remember from this movie, just because they have like a whole 3-minute discussion on the boats on their way there, talking about their names and their brothers' names and shit. And that's what I'm saying. Like, in the first movie, every character is memorable as shit. This movie, you really don't give a fuck about most of these people, besides Mary Beth and Uncle Bob and Justin, Perry Shen's character. Besides that, there's really nobody to give a shit about. And that's par for the course with slasher movies, but definitely this is why this is a notch down for me, a few notches down from the first film. because it's just not as memorable with the characters. The comedy doesn't hit as much, but they hear Crowley's shout for his daddy. Daddy. So cool. I love that. And Crowley runs out with and this is a great kill, man. You don't see this that often. I mean, we've seen so many hatchets to the faces and stuff like that, but Crowley just takes the hatchet and just uses the top blunt part and just starts smashing his face in and in and in, like, brutal, man. It really is. Like, it looks awesome. Really good kill. And then after that, Cletus runs off, like, freaking the fuck out. And this is right after he just said, I wouldn't be here if I believed in this or anything. He fucking freaks and just runs right off. And then we have Zombie telling Justin about his plan to lift the voodoo curse that was put on the nurse who gave birth to Victor Crowley. And I really like that, actually. Like, the way that they expand on the mythos in this film. And, like, instead of, like, in the first film, I was just, like, a ghost of somebody who died that keeps coming back. It plays into that whole New Orleans voodoo scene and shit in this movie with the voodoo curse and stuff. I really like that. It actually, like, kind of makes sense in a way. Like, it's a good way of explaining, like, exactly why Crowley is a ghost and keeps coming back night after night and reliving the same night over and over again. He had a voodoo curse put on him, and it makes sense. I mean, especially with the setting in New Orleans and everything. Really, really clever, I thought, with that. And he ends up saying his plan to lift that curse is by Samson is already dead. Mary Beth's father was killed by Crowley, and that Uncle Bob and Trent were the other two kids who were there that night that set the fire that led to Crowley dying. So he believes that once all three of them are dead by the hands of Crowley, that the curse will be lifted and he can be at peace and the swamp will be Reverend Zombies. So he can make all his delicious money. So Cletus gets on his boat and starts it. Like, can't start it, gets 1, 2, and then finally it starts right up. And right after it does, Crowley just jumps out of the water, tosses him out of the boat, and we get a Wilhelm scream here. I don't think I even noticed that, actually. I probably have, but don't remember. But I can't do a good Wilhelm scream. You'll never hear me do that again. And tosses him into the water, takes his head and just puts it under the water by the propeller, and this propeller just fucking massacres his face apart. Like, you don't see much on screen. Like, you see under the water, or just like flaps of his face like coming off and shit. And then he pulls him up out of the water, and his whole face is like peeled out. Like, and he has the only stupid thing about this kill, besides this, it looks awesome. It's just like you see the eyeball like still like inside the hole in his face, but it's so obvious that it's just like a fucking fake eyeball on a fucking piece of metal or a stick or something, like going to the back, like being propped up. It's a small little nitpick, but overall, awesome double kill with those two guys. Then we get probably my favorite scene in this movie. It is so fucking crazy and so depraved and so sick and so awesome. And that is when the ex-couple or whatever starts fucking. And just this is where some of the comedy, like, absolutely worked for me. Like, just because it's so ridiculous and it's so hysterical. And there he's fucking her from behind, and she's like, oh, you like that? You like that better than ice cream? You like that better than chocolate ice cream? And, like, the questions keep getting weirder and weirder. She's like, you like it better than Jesus? And he's like, I don't think that's appropriate right now. He's like, you like this better than baby Jesus? That's so fucking crazy. And, like, he answers all these, and then, like, when she says, like, tell me you love me, he's like, You can say that he loves us better than baby Jesus, but he can't say that he loves his fucking ex. That's so fucking funny. And eventually he just, says what he has to say, and then Crowley comes up behind him and just decapitates him, man. And his head just flies off, and his body just starts jerking from, like, the shock of being decapitated, and fucking just starts fucking her harder. And she's like, oh, calm down. Oh, it's so fucking nasty, crazy, man. And she's just like, and then she starts pushing back on him, and like, come on. And she turns around and sees that he's decapitated and sees Crowley, and she's fucking freaks, man, and gets up and starts crawling away, and Crowley just comes up behind her with the fucking hatchet and boom, right between her legs and right in her pussy. Then she's just like stands up kind of like on her knees and shit, and he just axes her, hatchets her right in the chest. And this is a weird watch for me, because I was watching, they're all on Tubi right now, and usually when I rewatch them, I watch them on Amazon. And during this scene, I said, wait a minute, like, because he hits her in the chest, and then right after that, you see the which is like a staple now of this franchise, of just the blood hitting the tree and stuff like that. And I said, wait a minute. I said, I remember her getting in the chest like that, and then like having like this like black humor moment of Crowley trying to pull the hatchet out, and he couldn't get it out like 2 times, 3, and then the 3rd time it comes out, and that's when the blood hits the tree. I said, is this the fucking R-rated version? Because I definitely remember that. And then during the next kill, and I said, this is definitely the R-rated version, and I'll get to that. But I had to go on, after the film ended, I had to just go online and look the kills up again, just to be like, I fucking knew it. Like, come on. I don't know, why do they put fucking cut movies on Tubi? It's free. It's fucking, there's so many horror movies on there, and I know that I don't know 100%, but I'm pretty sure there isn't a cut version for the first Hatchet. I've never seen a cut version. I know that 2 and 3 have the R-rated versions, and I don't think Victor Crowley has a cut version or anything like that. But definitely remembered that little humorous moment of him being like stuck in her chest with the hatchet, and like 1, 2, and like he looks like he's like and pulls it out. What a great scene, though. What a crazy scene. What great kills. It looks, and so sick and depraved, man. It's awesome. So fucking good. And then we get Mary Beth and the rest of that group go to Crowley's shack, and they cannot find her dad or brother's bodies or remains anywhere. And they end up going in and checking the main house, and that's when they hear Crowley's daddy call, and they try to barricade themselves inside. And then Mary Beth tells Justin that his brother is indeed dead, and said that she told Reverend Zombie this, and he turns to Zombie and says, you knew my brother was dead, and starts like stirring up the dynamic of the group and everything. And like I said, man, Zombie's just a fucking dick. He's just fucking lies to everybody just for his money to get from getting his swamp back. That's all he cares about. Then we get this next kill, and this is the kill that made me say, there's no fucking way this is the original version. This is the R-rated cut. And Crowley comes out and just lifts these 2 guys up, and you see how I keep saying 2 people and stuff, like I don't know their names at all. Like I know almost every name from the first Hatchet, except for I always forget the brunette porn star's name. Besides that, I know all their names. This, like I said, only Cletus and Chad, because they go on for minutes talking about their names and their brother's names and how stupid they sound. That's the only reason I would remember their names too. And even before this rewatch, I didn't know their names. It's not like I remembered this from all the times I've seen this movie. I know that they had a scene talking about their names, but I never really remember it. But since they go on for so long, this time I'm like, yeah, that's right, that's their names. But he comes in with this huge chainsaw and just gets both of them together under the legs and lifts them up in the air and shit, and there's blood everywhere, and then their testicles fall down. And that's what made me say there's no fucking way, because the testicles did not drop in this fucking cut of the movie. And I said, wait, no, this is the R-rated version, because that was like seared in my mind. Like as soon as I saw this movie when it came out, I said, that's fucking gnarly right there. And it just never happened. And then they get split in half, like as they're being lifted up, and that didn't happen either. I said, all right, this is the R-rated version. I said, there's no way. And like I said, afterwards I looked up the kills and I saw the fucking testicle drop. I said, I fucking knew it. And it's such a shame that they don't have the uncut versions online like that on Tubi and like other free apps and stuff like that. Who wants to watch a fucking R-rated cut of Hatchet? I mean, come on, that's so stupid. Excuse me. And blah, 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 and doing that. So then we have Mary Beth and Justin in the room together hiding, and Justin reveals Zombie's plan that he intends to have Crowley kill Uncle Bob and Trent, as they are the two remaining people who were responsible for the fire that led to his death, to Crowley's death, and that it's going to lift the curse. And we have another awesome kill. And this too, when I saw it, I said, I remember, like, and this was after the whole chainsaw scene, so I said, this is definitely the already cut. But again, I just stuck in, it hit me again with this kill, because I said, yeah, definitely, because I remember this, and it wasn't there. And when Justin hides and Crowley throws his hatchet into his back, and he's like up against the wall, and it's just stuck in his fucking back and his spine, whatever, and he can't move, and he takes his awesome belt sander. And this made me think too, I have not seen, I don't think, any other slasher films where they use a belt sander as a weapon. Like, he uses it a lot in this series. I can't think of one off the top of my head. If any of you like know a slasher film that uses like a belt sander as a murder weapon, leave in the comments, because I would love to I'd be interested to find out about that. See if it sparks my memory on another movie I've seen that does indeed have one, or something I've never seen that does have one. So, yeah, that would be interesting. But, yeah, it made me think of that. I said, I don't think I've ever seen that, like, used in any other movie, like slasher movie or franchise, except for this franchise. And he uses the belt sander and just starts sanding off the back of Justin's head and stuff. And then they didn't show, when he sands him down enough and he pulls it away, his brain's exposed. Wasn't in this either. I said, okay, all right, come on, his fucking brain shows. I know that. Like, I've seen these movies so many times. I said, there's no way. And that's why I had to just look up the kills online and prove it to myself. And then I felt so much better. I saw the actual kills. I said, that feels better seeing that, not being fucking censored. And then after that, Crowley just breaks into that main room in the house that they're all in, and starts trying to attack Mary Beth and throws her against the wall. And then I guess he just like instantly notices Trent, and he makes a beeline for this dude. And they fight for a little bit, man. Trent puts up a fucking fight, let me tell you that. Like, he really puts his all into not getting killed. Like, this guy really goes up against Victor Crowley. And they're like fucking choking each other out, and like Trent hits him with a chair, and then we get another awesome kill where he just he breaks Trent's leg and just like kicks it and breaks his knee or whatever. He falls to the ground and he puts his mouth open on the table and just like curb stomps him on the back of the head, like American History X style, on the table. And blood sprays out of his neck and the body as it falls onto the camera, the blood, everything. And then his head is like from here up, and it slides across the table and then like blinks and shit. Really cool kill, really cool effects, like how he blinks at the end. Really awesome stuff. Like I said, most of the kills in this movie are great. It's just a few of them that are just mostly just up in the beginning, in that opening montage, like with the smiley face, stupid looking face split one. And actually maybe that might be it. I mean, the rest are good. I mean, the effects definitely on some of them do look a little cheaper than in the first one, but for the most part, yeah, I mean, great kills throughout the whole movie, for the most part. But that's a great kill with the curb stomp. And then Zombie ends up carrying Mary Beth outside as she's screaming for Uncle Bob and stuff, because she knows it's his plan to have him killed by Crowley to end the curse. So now we just have Uncle Bob left. And God, Zombie is so evil, man. What a fucked up dude. And he ends up carrying her outside, and he just lets fucking Uncle Bob just get ripped apart by Crowley. We don't see any of it. That's like the only off-screen kill in the movie. But we see buckets of blood coming out of the fucking windows and everything. It's just so over the top, and so like I said in the beginning, like such rainy influences and everything. And Zombie believes that his plan worked, and that the swamp is his, and Victor Crowley's dead, and he's going to make a ton of money until Mary Beth says that he's a murderer, and that she's going to go to the police and tell him what he did, and he pulls a fucking gun on her, man, and he's going to fucking kill her. And she says, Like, wait, there's something you don't know. And ends up saying that wasn't my real uncle. Said her real uncle died of leukemia when she was a young girl, and that was her daddy's best friend. And then we get the second time we hear this line in the franchise, which I said in the first one, it's gotta be a callback to The Thing. But we get it again here by Zombie. You gotta be fucking kidding me. And he looks over and Crowley crashed through the wall and he's standing there and runs after him. And then we get my favorite kill in this movie. This is such a great fucking kill. The effects on it, the practical effects, everything is just amazing for this last kill. What a fucking final kill in a movie, dude. He just chops fucking Zombie in the back and keeps on chopping him until his fucking lower half falls apart and he's chopped in half and his top half of his body's on the floor, and he like steps on his back and starts tugging on his spine, and just until he rips his whole skeleton out of his skin, like Mortal Kombat style. Dude, it looks so gnarly. It looks so fucking amazing. And just he holds him up for a little bit, and you just see like him like Zombie, but like without his skin, and the muscles are showing and everything, and then he just tosses it aside into the bushes. Dude, so fucking awesome. And then after that, Mary Beth just comes out running and attacks Crowley, and she gets her wish from the very beginning of the movie of sinking that hatchet into his head, because that's exactly what she does. Hatchet right to the head, and he falls to the ground, and she just repeatedly just smashes him in the face with this hatchet, and we think he's dead, and she gets up and walks away. Then she comes right back a few seconds later with the gun that Zombie had and just blows his fucking face apart. Credits. Just like the first movie. I love how each one of these movies end. It's just like totally intense craziness and then just boom, credits, end. So good. Such another great entry in this series. Like I said, the comedic elements don't hit as much for me as the first film and Victor Crowley, because that has some humor in it, a lot of humor in it, and it really works for me in that fourth film for some reason. But like I said, the third one is my least favorite from all my times watching it, so I'm interested to see, now that I'm like really analyzing them like for reviews and stuff like that, to see how it stands up after I haven't seen the third one probably in a few years. So that'll be up a little later, and we will dive into Hatchet 3. Take care, guys.